At 6 o'clock on July the 16th, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Could I accept a motion? We accept the past minutes as read.
I'll make a motion, we accept.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No opposed. Public comment? Do we have anybody public comment for tonight? You talking about Mr. Ashton?
Yes.
Yeah, he's here for discussion of the ordinance, so. Nobody here for public comment. We will go on to the county fire chief's report.
Active 911 was, we had some money appropriated back in the budget for active 911. So we'll be working, to get this back up and going. So we'll be sending out to everyone a message to help us get information needed to get everybody back into the system. If you've already got active, we just need the activation code, and if we don't have active, we'll just need phone number, Android or iPhone, and we'll get everybody plugged back in. And then get everybody set up, and then the chiefs will have the ability to add people, take away people. But we're working now to see how many accounts we can get with the budget money we got.
Any idea when this will happen?
Hopefully, first of the week, I can send y'all a message to try to help me get names of your people. Because what we had when we did away with it, some of those people may or may not still be here. So get y'all to send me the list, and then we'll get it inputted, and as soon as we can get it paid, we'll start running with it.
I thought we were just gonna go off the rosters, off the active roster that we send you every quarter.
Yeah, we can do that, but I still need phone numbers if they weren't already in the system.
That's on the roster.
You need phone numbers and emails, right?
But if it's just a phone number, I don't know if it's Android or iPhone. But if they already have an active account, they just need the activation code or whatever that they have already in the active account, so they can plug it back in. So, but not everybody's turned in their rosters yet, so.
So it should be back in place within the month.
Yes, sir. Had a first meeting with the school district to Hamilton Career Center regarding the training program that the commission took to the Public Safety Committee. And it was a good first meeting with the school district, and they're interested in working towards getting this program back implemented. They want to work on promoting the program throughout the fall of this year and the spring, having several events, and they talked about maybe having some firemen and maybe even rescue come and help try to recruit just what we do at the schools, at the high schools. Do it again in the spring, but let them sign up in the spring. So the program to start with would be a summer program, and then once the district sees that there's interest and enough interest from the students, then they would make it a part of their school program throughout the year.
So they're wanting to do it as a summer program.
Next summer to start with is a summer program to make sure they have the interest before the school district moves it into a school year program.
Is it time to ask questions on stuff like that?
You can.
And that was the school training program?
Yeah, at the Career Center.
Okay, I thought I was on that committee. Should we have not been in that meeting?
Well, yeah, I guess it was taken to the Public Safety Committee, and then the Public Safety Committee pushed it out to, or they had conversations, it was pushed out to administration. Administration set up the meeting with the school district. Today was our first meeting, just as a conversation of what the school district was looking at for the future. But there's gonna be another meeting in the next few weeks. I let Travis know yesterday that the meeting was today. It had been moved several times. The gentleman that we met with was on vacation, so we had moved it several times with times and dates. But I am not on the committee. I told Travis yesterday if the 3 committee members come, I would have to leave. So, but if the committee wants to handle it, then y'all can handle it, and I won't go to the next meetings. But there is
No, but
another
I
meeting.
think we need to be included in it. Whoever's setting these meetings up, whether it be you or Mr. Shirley, apparently, we need to be included on it.
Well, I'll make sure you know about the next meeting, and if all three of y'all go, then y'all can handle the meeting and I won't go. They are planning to try to come to the August Chiefs meeting to have discussions with all the chiefs as well. So they're excited. They want to get it started. They want to get it started off the right way. But they want to make sure there's enough participation or enough interest to make it a part of the permanent program.
I'm just afraid you ain't gonna get that participation in the summer. I don't think you'll get it in the summer. And my fear is that they'll try it one summer as a summer program and say they didn't have enough interest, and then they won't proceed.
Well, there's an investment on the school district's part to get it started if nobody signs up. So that's the concern of hiring an instructor and putting all the money up front and nobody having interest in the program. So they want to see if there's interest in the program, and they're helping do that program in the summer and pay for the instructor. But yet it's not just full-blown into the school system until they see there's interest there.
Who will be the summer instructor?
Don't know that. Don't know. That's what they talked about today. We just got to find the right person. So this was just an idea meeting for them today. That's kind of what they thought of trying to go forward with it. So
What was the thought on the, kind of initial thoughts on the credits that students would receive? Would it be
it would not be a accredited program through the summer. No,
so they wouldn't get any credit toward their diploma?
not toward the high school, no.
Okay.
No. We did talk about, there's a high school version program, and then there's the Fire 1 and Fire 2 program. If you take the high school program, you got to turn around at the end of it and challenge the academy class to get a certificate. So they agreed that it would be better to teach the fire program, which a junior could take now. And then when they turn 18, they would get their certificates. So you wouldn't have to challenge another test. They would be done with it.
It'd be nice if they did give credit, because if they give credit, it might allow some students to get dismissed earlier out of school the next year.
Yeah. One thing we did talk about, though, if somebody is taking electrician or auto mechanics and would like to try to do this to be a volunteer, it don't take away, they don't have to pick now. If they did the first summer, I don't have to give up auto mechanics to take the fire track. So I think there's some pluses there to help, but I think it's up to all the fire departments in the county to help sell it at the schools. The school's trying to help us as well, as they're promoting it. So.
Back to the three people being there, I mean, I think since we set the committee up, I think we should be included in knowing when it is. And if two of us can go, that's good. But with three people being there, I think you need to be one of them, since you're the.
Well, but I'm not on the committee, so.
No, but you're the county fire chief.
That's right.
You know, you're not on that committee, but I think you should be there. But I think if two of us can go, that'd be good.
I'll let you know when the next meeting is, and as far out as I know, and y'all can figure out who the two of you
I mean, I
gonna
may be
be.
wrong, but I think you should be there as long as well as two of us.
I agree with that.
Mr. Chairman, I spoke to the juveniles I've got, and one of them completed in Anderson, and one had to go to Anderson Training Center weekends and nights because it's in Oconee County schools. And I asked them point blank, which would they prefer? And they pretty much said that if they got to waste their whole, not waste, but I mean, if they got to take up their whole summer off during high school, they probably would not have done it. But
That's my fear.
during class. So seems like they could query the students there now and go, hey, if we offer this next year, who's interested? So if they get, a class plus 20% or whatever, I mean, some number, then obviously it'd be a go, but trying to base off of how well it works during the summer, probably not a good predictor for how well it's gonna work during the school year. And if you hired somebody, hire them full year, they teach all year round, full-time instructor, not just a, teacher that's there 9 months.
That's the way it was set up before, is during the school year, Larry Greer taught for the school. And then after school was out, he swapped over and taught for the county.
Now, was it done, did they do a test run during the summer to see if it was feasible or not? Or did they just go straight into it last time?
I think they just started doing it.
Yeah, they started up.
Yeah.
And let's face it, a lot of those kids go in that just because they don't want to go into nothing else. You know, and it's, I was there whenever there was one of those classes, and probably 3 people out of the whole class, he went because his friend went, you know. And one of those ended up being a fireman. So, but I'm just afraid of the summer program that, and you're asking, I don't know how to say this, the equipment, I'm sure they're gonna come to the fire departments and need equipment to get them started. So you're wanting the volunteer fire departments to invest in something that we feel like may already fail with the summer program. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, we gotta start somewhere.
Is this gonna be offered between a junior and senior year?
They didn't say that today. But they didn't say, I'm assuming it would be offered to juniors and seniors.
Yes, because a lot of your, 16, 17-year-olds, they're out working in the summers, and if they happen to go to class, not getting anything for it.
Well, I did mention that, you're competing with football and other things that go on through the summer and vacations as well. Maybe the first summer, they don't do nothing but through Fire One, and they don't take every day, so you can keep people interested and not just burn away their summer. So that's what we talked about, trying to, break it out. So, but that was all I had on my report.
Anybody else got anything on? Hearing none, we will go to the district updates. Commissioner McAllister.
I talked to all my chiefs. They don't have anything to report right now.
Commissioner Nicholson.
Same thing, don't have anything to report.
Commissioner Skelton.
Don't have anything.
Myself, we met in our region concerns, active 911, when will we be performing the switch? And everybody in attendance agreed that the fire chief needs full rights to their station. Maybe not to the whole system, but to their station. Holly Springs, has got their FDID number. They are in the process of swapping everything over through the state. I think everybody on this board knows that the state don't get in any big hurry, but I was in there Monday or Tuesday, and he was actually working with somebody at the State Fire, trying to get some stuff swapped over. They have got some concerns on the building lease, that we're trying to get ready to present to the Public Safety Committee, just to change some wording. One of them was that they can do what they need to the building, but 30 days' notice, they can come take the building away. Another was there's nothing to bind them down to running calls, and I feel like that needs to be in there. You giving them a building to operate out of, and then they just decide not to answer any calls. Well, there needs to be a stipulation in there that they're bound by contract to do it. So, but we're working through that and try to get it finished up into the Public Safety Committee. The last thing they had was on the county website. There is a tab, and Commissioner Swalford, you may have to help me. There's a tab that you can hit to be a volunteer. When you hit that tab, has anybody ever looked at it? When you hit that tab, it automatically gives you an application to fill out. When you submit that application goes to the State Firefighter Association. why isn't that going somewhere in the county so that it can be disseminated out? Because we all know State Fire don't get in any hurry. And we may have somebody that applies and they don't hear anything in a month or two, and they just say, well, the heck with it then.
So when they get those, they send them to me, and I do send them out to the chiefs of the department that the person lives in if they're showing interest for volunteer. So I forwarded several applications out that I've got from them. As far as the website, I don't know who runs their website. I think it was Crine at one time. We talked about that last week, trying to figure out who has access, who can get access so that we can start updating that. So we don't have any access to that. So, but I don't disagree. We could send that to us, but it does come back from the state.
Yeah.
I have sent those out.
How long does it take to normally get it? Because Monday afternoon, I filled it out just for the heck of it, to see how long it would take to get back to people.
I don't know.
I think, didn't you
I don't know.
fill one
I've
out,
never
Larry?
submitted one, but I know I get them.
Did you fill
I
one out?
submitted one Monday at 4 o'clock,
They
4:30.
might have looked and saw you was already a member and said, ha. I don't know.
I
I
was
don't know.
I was just trying to see
I
how
just
long it
know I
would
get
take.
them from the state that says, hey, this person is interested in being a volunteer, and I just send the information straight to the volunteer chief.
Our region everybody in our region would like to see them things come to the county instead of the state, if we can figure out who to make that happen. Because it's ultimately gonna turn around and go back to the state, so.
There was some discussion about, at one point, the county had said that there shouldn't be but one website, and that was the county website. And not have
Links to it.
sub websites. But there is a sub website that's got some old information on it. That may be the one you're talking about, so, but we need to figure that out.
Yeah.
So,
Is everybody in agreement with that needs to come to somebody in the county instead of going to the state? Because everybody knows how the state operates.
But Travis, along those lines, if you do follow that link and you go to the state website and you keep following the link, it comes up to a page where you fill out all your information. On that page, it's got a list of contact your nearest fire department. And there's,
There's like 5.
I took my glasses off, I can't count, but it's like eight departments listed there, out of the departments in the county. What you have to do is you have to submit your department information to them, and at some point, they'll put it on there, apparently. I've submitted ours, and it hasn't shown up, but, so, to get your local contact information, you've got to submit it yourself. So, if anybody hasn't done that, you need to encourage you.
But we could eliminate that by just getting it sent to the
You
county.
could, but that don't mean they're not gonna follow, somebody can get on the state site and see it anyway.
Right.
So,
I ain't keeping them from seeing it, I'm just trying to
no, what I'm
speed
saying
the
is they can follow that link instead of the link off of our county website.
that's still part of that old, the answer the alarm part they did several years ago, so.
Can we see about getting that sent directly back to the county?
We have to see if we can get access to update the website first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we talked about that last week, so we can work on that, see what we can do.
I think that's all we have right now from our region. Commissioner Wilkerson?
Same question from Chief Brock about the communications. I think there's supposed to be another tower going on, another antenna going on the water tower at Crossroads.
Last I heard, that all that was at administration on approval to try to get that approved to do that. So I'll have to follow up and see where that's at.
Did you say at the administrative level?
I said at the administration level, yes. Yeah. So
Um,
I'll have to follow up and see where that's at.
We started this in January, and that came up then, so,
I do know that the dispatch, the communications center has very little budget money to do things in the current radio system. So we'll have to see what that cost is as well, and that might have been where it was at.
I'm somewhat gonna echo what the chief said, but we've all heard it if you listen to the radio, Andy. They don't have very good communications over in Conross area, and if something don't get done to fix that, there's gonna be a problem, a real problem. Phoebe, I assume y'all having the same issue down in that area?
Yeah, it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Everything they do, they say it's gonna fix it, nothing ever does.
I wouldn't think of. putting an antenna up on that tower would be $1 million. I mean, it's not gonna be something crazy.
I don't think it's gonna help anyway.
Well, they had one or two towers donated to them somewhere. 'Cause Crane had talked about putting one up at Cleveland and wanted a site to be able to put a tower on, and then we found him a site, and then all of a sudden we had to buy the equipment to go on the tower. So we booted that idea. So there should be a tower or two laying around somewhere.
This was going on the water tower, I think, at Crossroads. They had worked out, or they had talked to Pioneer, but I think there had to be some kind of agreement, legal agreement, for us to put our equipment on their tower. So.
On that note, they, even over in our area, the radio just don't work sometimes.
I think it's all over at this
Yeah.
point.
You got a low-lying area or whatever, they just won't get to. Then they go to that digital channel, you can't hear it, but it sounds like it's screaming.
Maybe this falls into old business, sir, but I'll segue to it anyway. And I've got fuzzy memory here. So we got a contract with someone to maintain the system, and was there an action item recently, like a month or two back, to get them to make sure they looking at the system?
They can monitor the system from where they are, and if they have areas that's troubled, they can come check that. That's what their contract does, is if there's problems, or if we have equipment that's down, they come and fix that.
So I'm just curious, how do they know there's problems? Like if it's not maybe
I'm not
the radio may be putting out.
I'm not a radio person, but that's what Justin says is Gumby can look at something and tell if the system is performing. If there's a microwave down or something down, they can tell that. They can go out then and try to check it. Or if we have areas we've identified where there's a problem, they can come out then and try to identify if something's going on. But I'm not a radio guy, so I can't answer that question for you.
So have they been asked to come look at these areas like in the Conroe's Creek
Well,
area?
the last conversation we had at the Chiefs meeting was if you have areas in specific roads where there's issues, to let me know. Just saying all over don't help us. But if there's certain roads at 24 and 59 we can't talk, then Justin and Belcher can go out there, and if there's an issue, or if they can't figure it out, Gumby can come out too. But we got to have specifics in areas where there's problems with communication. That's what
I think that specific area has been mentioned before. That's the reason I'm asking that specific area, not globally.
So one of the problems they had down there was when Lever Hall was off at Clemson, and they were getting no feedback. It also affected the Shiloh area and the 123 Clemson Boulevard area. So that had been fixed, but that is a bad location. It takes an act of Congress to get in there to it, is what Justin have told us. If there's an issue, just because it's on state property, to get there to it. So, but that was a problem at Clemson Boulevard. It may also have been a problem at Crossroads.
I think in that communications committee meeting, it was mentioned they want to know a specific location and time, right?
Yep, and you were there. That's what they said, is they need areas.
Yep.
They can't just say countywide, because it's not necessarily countywide, but there is problem areas. But if we can get closer to a road, then that would help them go see what's going on.
Oh, a highway to Prather Bridge Road.
Townville Fire Station to Cleveland Black Road.
Yeah. Well, I know during the train derailment out there was a lot of radio chatter, but once we actually finally got to the scene, you could walk from here to that back door there and not have zero comms. But you could walk that far again and have perfect comms. And it seemed like Digital 2 is not supposed to work in Cleveland. Well, in that area that it wouldn't work, you could switch to Digital 2, and guess what? It worked. But then you walk that far again, Digital 2 wouldn't work, but Digital 1 would. So it don't make any sense. Mr. Wilkerson, anything else?
No, sir.
Commissioner Swafford, you got anything from the chiefs?
The representative from the Career Center is coming to our next Chiefs meeting. And the next item I can talk about, because they're on the discussion items on down, so.
Okay, carry on.
I think they're gonna come to August.
Do what?
I think they're coming to August, not to July.
That's not-
I'll verify.
Anything else?
No, sir, that's it.
Okay. Committee updates, incentive.
We did not meet on the incentive committee. We have not met.
Communication meeting, committee.
We have met. We met May, right? May or, no, we met in
Back in June.
June. We did meet in June. A lot of questions were asked about coverage. I asked what was the problem with the radio system, because everybody in the room agreed that there was a problem within the radio system, but nobody knows exactly what the problem is or how to solve it. So, we got the provocation maps from, which is what would cover areas with radio coverage. Not 100%, but it's not it's not 100% guarantee that the radio's gonna work in that area, but it's likely to. So I asked about a map of the current system, and nobody knew how to do that, so I reached out to one of the vendors that we talked to in the past, and he gave me the information that we had to have, and I sent it to everybody that was on the email chain, and Aaron Smith is supposed to be working on that to get us a provocation map with that vendor to see what our coverage is now. But,
It'll be easy.
I mean,
And we also, as mentioned, that the people that's maintaining our radios are supposed to be maintaining our radio system. When they're doing work, we'd like to see, it'd be nice to have like what it's doing now, and then after they make any adjustments or work on equipment, what it's doing, to where you've got some proof of maintenance.
It was also mentioned, multiple times on several occasions that, that the volunteers, particularly 4 of them, were going out testing radios and this, that, and other for 3 to 4 days. And the data was shared with the county paid staff, but no data has been shared at all that they have done. So we've asked for that and haven't got anything in return, so.
Say that again. Say that again.
The data that we shared with everybody about where we went, if the radios worked or not, didn't work, how many times we had to mash the button to key up. We asked during that communications meeting about data being shared, about the research type stuff, and nobody's received anything back from nobody.
About what test that we done? So we only went to a couple of places and we've offered the radios to the rest of the fire service to go and try, but we necessarily didn't have data like that.
Well, there's 2 people that work for the county that went around testing the radios, and
They may have done it. That's
that's what I'm saying, nobody shared the data with
Talking
us,
about
so.
what we had.
No, you've told me about that,
Okay.
but, like, nobody that's dealt with radios in the past has shared any kind of information on whether the radio system works or not works, and where at. We did, so we give cross streets or if it's at the top of Brasstown Falls or Sloan's Bridge on Highway 107, we had a chart that said what radio, how many times it took to key up, stuff like that. So it'd be nice to see that, what they done, and compare it.
You mean with the new system they're trying?
Yeah.
Fleet Talk system?
Fleet Talk 800 and the current system. Digital versus analog too.
That Fleet Talk, is that what little Brady Blackwell's been testing? Yeah, a lime green radio, but he told like that radio was $7,000 or $8,000.
Serious?
Make it
it's a little over $6,000.
That's a tri-band radio that he has. It's not a one frequency radio, so that's why it's so expensive.
There is a cheaper one that will work,
Yes.
but
Yes.
the one that you're talking about specifically is a tri-band.
So,
It's kind of the Mac Daddy of the radio.
yeah.
Command staff.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, sir. I don't think so.
The school training program, we haven't met, and none of us made the meeting this morning because I found out about it at 5 o'clock yesterday. Very short notice, so, but we'll discuss that on down into discussion items. Truck apparatus, Chris, did you tell me the other day that we needed to start working on truck specs?
Yes, we didn't budget an amount of money for a truck. We budgeted an amount for a lease payment. We worked to try to get 2 engines and 3 tankers. So, we needed to, figure out, make sure that we can do 5 for the lease payment amount that I budgeted. We gotta find out, I gotta talk with procurement to find out, do they have to be the same manufacturer? Or can you do 2 different manufacturers for the engine and for the tanker separately as one purchase and one lease? Because that would be important before we get started. And then after that, sitting down and trying to figure out anything we want to change on tankers and then engines.
Well, with that committee, I will respectively step down off that committee, because if all 3 of the committee members and you met, there's too many there. So if Larry and Fabian are good with it, I'll step down, and y'all and Chris can serve that committee. Otherwise, there's gonna be 4 there, and that's illegal. You good with that? Larry?
I am, yeah.
Fabian, you good with that? Do we need to, vote on that? Let's vote on that. I am respectfully gonna step off the truck committee just so that we stay in legal status of a meeting. All in favor of that?
Aye.
All opposed? No opposition. I mean, one of us needs to step down, and y'all can build a fire truck as good as I can, so. The awards committee, we need to elect by November, so we'll table that till next meeting. But put your thinking hats on. How many do we need for that one person? So,
Can I throw my name in the hat now, or need to wait?
let's wait till next month. If we're tabling it, let's wait till next month.
I'm not on any of them other committees.
But Matty, you got that for next month? Okay. That concludes all the committee updates, the discussion items. Follow up on the ordinance consideration for the sewage spill, and I'm gonna let Commissioner Nicholson jump
Yeah.
on that.
Chief Ashton came to talk to us tonight about, kind of what they would like to see or what he'd like to see. So, James, you want to come up?
We just need to know what the end game, what you need out of us.
So the reason I'm looking at this is because sewer treatment plant is getting some large spills. They're not telling anybody until it's too late. All I want to see is anything over 5,000 gallons, they're required to report to DES. I'm not saying send hazmat out on this stuff. I'm saying notify emergency management. They can make a decision. If it's in the waterway, it's them and DES. If it's on somebody's property, I don't know about y'all, I don't want kids running down there picking up dysentery, cholera, Hep A, typhoid, none of that stuff. We can get out there, we can respond, we can keep this stuff away from people's houses a little bit better. and we care more about the public. That's the only reason I'm putting it out there. State requires that they notify DES. It's recommended that they notify emergency management, but unless there's a local ordinance, then it's not required that they notify anybody but DES.
Do you know any other counties or departments that have an
Not
ordinance?
off the top of my head, no.
Because I called a couple and I couldn't find anybody that had one, just to have a model, the ordinance, to make an ordinance out of.
Who you say they report, who is they? I ain't being smart.
They, the Joint Regional Sewer Authority in this area, or whatever sewer system,
Okay, not us reporting,
No,
but they,
no.
the
The,
sewer owner.
the owner of that
Cities
sewer
or-
line.
And/or if it got to the
It's
regional.
private, county, city, whoever. If they have a line that breaks, then that owner is responsible for notifying Department of Emergencies or Environmental Services. But they're not required to tell anybody else.
Councilman Mize, is that something, is that something that county council could write an ordinance on, or? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll review that with the attorney and see what our options are.
I think you've already talked to the attorney, have you not?
Because I was tasked with trying to find out if there was other local agencies that had it. And then the next question was, if the county wrote an ordinance, could it be enforced in a municipality? Would they have to report sewage spills to the county emergency management?
With the cities, I mean, if they call for a hazmat team, then they're calling through the county. So, I would imagine so,
Okay.
but.
That would be a question for the attorney when he looked at it, so.
Your recommendation would be an ordinance wrote.
To where they have to, at a minimum, notify emergency management. And they can make the decision, do we just want a fire department just to wash some of this stuff off somebody's yard, or do we need a team out there to actually locate it from sitting in somebody's house? I mean, that one resident was complaining it was in their house brand, it was only a corner of their carport, but a corner of the carport is still their house. Could have just as easily been in the living room and everything else, and who pays for that?
So you, the DEC rules are 5,000 or more, but are you saying it needs to also be some amount below 5,000?
5,000 or more.
Okay.
I mean, just along the same lines, just notifying somebody else as well. Notified emergency management as soon as they know and get an approximation on amount versus DES, they have 24 hours to report it. We can get out there sooner to help people than they can.
It sure seems to me if there was any amount that got off your property on somebody else's property, there'll have to be a notification made.
Yeah, but they have 24 hours to do it. And they only need to notify DES. They don't have to notify anybody in the county.
But that's still got a threshold of 5,000 gallons. If they dump a gallon of sewer on somebody's property, they ought to be notified.
I understand, and I agree, but different standards. And if it's treated, then it doesn't apply, but raw sewage, it does. Treated, they're killing most of that stuff out of it.
Mr. Shirley, you gonna take care of that?
Yes, sir.
Then we'll keep digging, see if what we can come up with.
Thank you.
Follow up on county employee volunteer paid status. Have we got a resolution on that yet?
Paid staff volunteering,
Yes.
the county attorney is working on a county policy.
Any idea when?
No, sir.
will we see that policy before it flies?
Well, that'd be a county administration policy, so I don't know, it would be approved by council, so I don't know that it would come here or not.
Okay, anything else on that? Next thing, we've been asking for the, as it's listed, administration-approved org chart, if you can see it. Maddie's tricking us on this. I'm gonna have to cheat, ladies and gentlemen. That don't work because it takes all the numbers out of it. We'll give you a minute to look over that, and then we'll. Chris, what are the ones in the red right there?
That's A shift battalion, B shift battalion, C shift battalion, training officer.
The one above those three are training officers.
Right underneath assistant chief is training officer.
And then the ones over to the right, the two by themselves, what are they?
Two red ones?
Yeah.
That's Oconee County Deputy Emergency Manager and Oconee County Deputy Chief of EMS and Rescue.
They got any questions, comments, concerns?
This would be nice to have, not necessarily names in these blocks, but it'd be nice what people's titles are now. I know, I guess people's changed jobs in the last few weeks. weeks or months.
It's got their titles.
I'm talking about the names, so we know who's who in those positions. That's the only question I would have.
The ones under each shift, the three assigned for Bannerland there, and we're all aware the ones in the Bannerland stay at Bannerland. But what, at West Union, are they staying at West Union, those three all the time, or do they go out somewhere else?
They have the West Union Walhalla area that they're responsible for, but if they get pulled, they may get pulled up north, picket post area.
But I guess my question is, do they go up there a day a week or 2 days a week, or they stay at West
Yeah,
Union?
They stay at West Union.
Where's Oconee one on the flow chart?
They're under the A shift captain, A shift engineers, and A shift firefighters, and
But there's 3 people on every shift at every department, and then Oconee one only has 2 people. Because
Right.
if, on the flow chart, like today, you got 3 people at Bannerland, 3 people at West Union, and then 3 people at South Union. But you got 2
there's
more at,
there's an A shift captain.
that rides at South
There's-
Union.
There's A shift engineers,
Mhm.
and there's A shift firefighters.
What I'm saying is, you got a battalion chief, a captain and lieutenants scattered, but
I got a captain at Bannerland, I got a lieutenant at West Union, and then I have a shift captain that works out of South Union, except for C shift.
but that's what I'm saying. On the flow chart, Oconee one's not even on the flow chart. The people aren't.
They are. They under the A shift, B shift, and C shift, engineer, captains, and firefighters.
Okay.
See,
Guess all reason.
So it's an organizational chart, not necessarily a squad assignment. So organizational chart, your firefighters and engineers report to the captain.
How come on the budget, last year it says 57, but the paid staff position on the flow charts only adds up to 50?
Because you got the 57, what are you talking about?
On the budget, it says 57 for full-time employees plus the part-time employees. It's 76. But you take out the volunteer rescue squads and the CERT team and the hazmat team, which is all volunteer or run by the county, that is on the flow chart, it only adds up to 50.
Steve, what you can't see on that little teeny writing, there's S's behind some of them, meaning plural, filling those positions. So, like it says firefighters, it might be 1, it might be 20.
2 shifts was 16, 1 shift was 15.
Pretty good observation.
I was just counting boxes, sorry.
What'd you just say, Chris? 2 at,
It's 2 shifts with 16 personnel, and there's 1 shift with 15.
But there's 76 positions, but only 50 on the chart. That's 22.
Truman. I can blow it
That's
up.
nice. Makes sense to me. I understand it.
any more questions on the on the org chart? You wanna take it home and study it and table it till next meeting, or you wanna?
Still shorthanded on
1 shift. We got short 1 person.
In the ever-ending discussion, this org chart, will it still not support staffing stations during the week,
We don't have the staff into staff stations,
even with your proposed plan,
proposed plan.
the one that you proposed?
In January, is what he's talking about.
No. The 5-day rotation plan that you came up with?
Currently, no.
This one?
Yeah, currently, no. That was one in each station? That one was,
That was,
the one we discussed in the workshop?
this is the outcome that you and Mark had came up with and presented at the workshop.
Right, to try to keep our people on 24/48
Right,
and wouldn't lose
right.
people.
That's where they would go to the station for 8 hours and then go back to their squad.
Well, currently, we got 4 openings and 2 in training. One we just hired today that's going to training. So we got 4 openings. We don't have personnel to do it. There's 20-some odd people that have less than a year experience. So I don't think it'd be wise to put one person in anybody's station, not with that kind of experience.
Well, I think we need to can this station staffing because it's already pretty well tanked. I mean, because we sure hadn't got any support on the station staffing, and that was the number one thing throughout the volunteer service, was getting somebody in a station during the day.
I think setting somebody out there with no experience is setting them up to fail and get hurt. And it's not gonna help anybody just to have somebody sitting at your station who just finished recruit class, who has no experience in answering calls. I don't think that's good for the county, the community, or the citizens.
I hate to say it, but I don't think it's good for the county tax dollar to be hiring people with zero experience either. I'm just being honest.
You gotta hire what we can hire.
You wouldn't hire me for a job I had zero experience for.
We sending them to school. I mean, our application pool is very little. We had 6 supposed to show up for interviews, Wednesday, yesterday. 4 showed up. So that's all the applications we get. The waiting list of people wanting to be a fireman have gone.
So you're backing up just a second. You're saying only out of all the people, how many employees you say y'all have now?
He said we got 57 on the list.
Okay, so if there is 57 and you only have 2 that are not firefighter ones trained?
No, we have 4 openings in our positions and 2 that are going to training. So basically, there's 6, but we have 4 still left to hire.
Right,
But
but
there's
those
2
4
that we've
don't,
hired.
those 4 are not currently employed.
That's
So
right.
right now, out of all the employees you have, you only have 2 that do not at least have firefighter 1.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right, yes, sir.
Okay. But yeah, I'll agree with you on sending somebody green out to work in a station. I mean, for none other than you put somebody at Friendship and they show up on a call, I mean, it's happened already, and lit my fuse because they didn't know what in the Sam Hill they were doing, you know, and then I had to go back and apologize to them. So yeah, I agree with you about putting somebody green out there. But if you could hire somebody with 5-10 years experience, life would be easy, I guess. It's not that way.
That ain't what I said, that's what your budget says. That's just what I went off of, sorry.
But I agree, you know, you can't hire nobody anywhere anymore. We sure had the road department, just know you can't get nobody to work.
Not this generation.
You're fighting other
Stations
areas
too.
in the upstate because they pay so much money. They're not gonna come to Oconee County for $40,000 a year when they go somewhere else making 50-something or 60-something thousand a year.
Doing the same job.
Doing the same
Yeah.
job.
That's Oconee in general. Everything.
Or like you say, they do come here and get trained up, then they take off somewhere else, so it's,
Well, you can't blame them. I mean, if you can go somewhere else and make $10,000-15,000 more dollars a year, but unless you're born and raised and dedicated here, it's not gonna happen.
Any further discussion?
Well, it keeps getting brought up, and I know it's sour for volunteers, and it's a sour issue for the paid staff also. But just because it's sour doesn't mean we don't need to try and work together and figure out some reasonable answer to it. Because on the volunteer side, you know, when we started getting folks, it was to help take care of these, for lack of a better word, mundane issues that go on at the stations to help out with that. Plus, if Ethel has a heart attack out here and somewhere around outside these core locations where the folks are, like the regional ideas, Ethel's probably gonna die because we don't have somebody with CPR and AED to go help her out. And so there's that also, even if they got minimal experience, will help out with that. I'm not saying we need to put somebody brand new off the street and doing that, but we need to figure out some solution. Now, this is totally off the top of my head. Well, right now, we're down about 15% employees, right? You said you had 15 per shift, that's 45, you're down essentially 6. So that's more than 10% less 20. Drop 20, and that keeps rotating, right? From what Richie said, there's been over 200, it's been gone over the last few years, I mean, come through. So why couldn't we, and it'll be up to county council and administration to do this. Okay, we got people that's very low trained just because of the rotation, the flux of folks coming in, coming out. So let's drop our total number of people 20%. Now, let's take that, don't drop the money, take that extra 20% of money that you just got by not filling those spots and increasing the salaries for the remaining folks 20%. Either they step up and do a great job and get the experience, or they're going to leave anyway for whatever reason, their family's in North Carolina, whatever it is. Then you got an incentive to get folks, maybe you're talking about more experience and more.
Right. And it encouraged somebody to stay.
To get somebody with experience. Now you're competitive. You're okay. Let's go now. Anderson County will be training them instead of us training them and sending them to Anderson. Anderson trains them, and we steal them from them. But it's a fewer number of folks. But right now we got fewer number of folks anyway, just because it's rotational. It's always you're never fully staffed.
But our positions are staffed. We try to staff the positions with overtime to make sure that we can still try to
But the
answer all.
57 number's never done, right? And we were talking about overtime. Killing people by working them overtime all the time is just, that ain't right either.
If you took the money of the people who are leaving and divided that into part-time to put your person in your station, 3 days a week, 4 days, whatever we could swing, they're gonna stay here because they live here. Is that not a doable option? I mean, to use that, it doesn't affect your numbers of your staffing numbers, and it also covers these volunteer stations during the day when they are shorthanded. And that gives coverage to that.
How does it not affect our number if you're taking the pay away from the ones that live?
I'm saying take that money, don't refill that position, because right now you could take the people you've got and we've heard regional response over and over. Well, that would assist in your regional response theory, but it also cover these stations during the day. Out of that 6 people, whatever, how many
How
did you
does it
say?
help on the regional response?
Do it now?
How does it help on the regional response?
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about going to an individual station 1 day a week.
regional response is paid staff responding in a region to help and assist the volunteer departments in that region. So if I don't have staff, how does that help the regional response? Because part-timers
You've
ain't
got
gonna work
staff
every day.
because that person's gonna be in that fire department.
What are they gonna do at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
Well, you're acting like you ain't got no volunteers in the county now.
No, I didn't say that.
They're answering calls after 5 o'clock when they get home from their paying job. That's not the issue. It's the 8 to 5, 7 to 5 time window where people are gone from their fire department, from their region. And we've already argued this to death. I mean,
Well, that's what we're all on the right track. We're just kind of middle way to get to the finish line of this thing. We need,
well, I think we're willing to give and others ain't willing to give.
well, they gotta keep putting out these regional stations like Whetstone and those 24 is not staffed, is it? Nobody at Station 24.
That's volunteer.
You gotta get paid guys out in these regional stations to come assist us, but we're trying to get people at our stations too to help cover calls. Just getting the manpower and we're halfway through the game, we just gotta get the other 50 yards off. You know what I'm saying? Both ways, we gotta try to keep doing the regional stations, but get more people out in the volunteer stations too. Just coming up with the money and the manpower. You know, if you hire somebody part-time at the station, it's usually gonna be some fireman that works at another station, so they'll work at 24 hours and then go on to your station for.
Does anybody actually have a regional response on paper? Because everybody keeps talking about it, and nobody ever says like, hey, this is a proposal.
I hadn't seen it.
I don't,
And regional response may work good down around Fabian's area, but regional response ain't gonna work for you or me. It's gonna take too long to get there. But that's my theory. I mean, just the road mileage is gonna kill you.
I was just asking. Everybody keeps talking about it, and nobody ever.
Well,
Here,
everybody
the
keeps
regional
talking
response.
about it, but they ain't nobody putting nothing in writing, so.
We have a meeting Tuesday night at council, just to let y'all know, so it is being marked out on the wall, everything's in the works, so.
Do what now?
We have a meeting in executive session on Tuesday night to discuss some of that, and just see where we are.
Well, don't you think the commission should be involved in some of that?
Not until we get a little farther down the road, I mean, it's in the infancy stage, and we're looking at it, and we're trying to figure out what's the best for everybody. We've also discussed with y'all, putting, your part-time guy being part of your volunteer department, but we gotta find the funds for that too. We worked hard on looking for that this year, to give you a guy in your fire station that volunteers for your station, and then when he gets off in the afternoon, he can go home, not have to go back to another fire station. So, and he has buy-in and ownership because he lives in your community and volunteers for your station. But again, it comes down to funding. Everything that we do revolves around manpower and money, and it's difficult, to just find that happy medium.
Anything else on that?
Well, I was gonna suggest, but apparently that would be a bad suggestion, but I would suggest, let me give you an analogy. We had an issue at the fire department, I don't remember what it was, a number of years ago. And, 4 or 5 people sat around in the room, and it was just all kinds of crazy ideas came up. Then all of a sudden, after talking for 30, 45 minutes, it was just like a collective light bulb came on, and it was the perfect idea, perfect solution. Who come up with it? We don't even know today. So the same thing could happen here. A couple from volunteers, a couple from the Chris's organization, a couple from staff or council, get together in a room. Now, them getting together, they ain't gonna be able to address our needs because they're not us. But get everybody in the room together, if that could happen, and just, hey, let's egos at the door, let's talk this through, let's come up with options that don't raise taxes, that don't kill people, but gives the best service we possibly can with the ditches we have now, with the funding we have, to the citizens of the county. That's what's important. Now, if that's not doable to do that, then if that's not amenable to everybody to get together and do that, But that still was my suggestion, still is.
I agree with that, getting all parties involved to agree with that. Something else. Anything else, Mr. Wilkerson? Mr. McAllister? Mr. Nicholson? Next thing is the budget. Do we want to, this is the budget the council approved. This is the first time, just for the record, this is the first time we have seen this budget, so. Do we want to look at this, go over it? Do we?
I think I see the approved budget, first time I've seen the approved budget.
Mhm.
Okay. Because I submitted to y'all what I submitted to the,
All we got, all we've been presented is the things that we requested, Chris.
I think I sent every budget to everybody before the budget was voted on. Yes, sir.
I didn't see it.
Well, it was emailed to all of you,
I'd love to see that.
because Larry asked for it at the May commission meeting, and I emailed it the next day.
You got between second and third reading.
I think that was the third reading.
Yeah.
What happened to the $48,000 that was left over in the incentive from last year?
I know that there was $48,000 left over in the incentive last year.
Somewhere I seen,
We talked about it a while back, and
So-
it seemed like 40-something
So,
was still in the account supposedly or something, and
so there was 200,000 that was budgeted, 135,000 come out for incentive, and we talked about that. And then there was the 24,000 that was paid for everybody's supplemental insurance. And then there was another $20,000 that was for the helicopter insurance, and then another $8,000 for the awards dinner. When I caught all that, took out the paid staff from the insurance policy, so that wasn't in there from the year before, as well as the travel insurance. So those invoices was a little lower, but they might have been a couple $1,000s, but they wasn't 40-something thousand dollars. But those are transferred to the appropriate line. They have to transfer those to another budget line to pay those.
so there's nothing coming outside of the incentive, right?
Incentive is.
Just incentive?
The only thing that has to be taken out of the incentive is for every check, there has to be workers' comp, comes out of the check. So we just gotta figure out what that number is with payroll, what it would be for that amount of money. And so that, and then the incentive is all that comes out of that, because we do have the other insurance, that's,
The ambulance aircraft,
yes.
24,960. And then the supplemental was right up under it.
Yes, and then the awards was, 8,000 some change.
So
And I may have been wrong on the 135, but it was, I don't know what the number was that Brian had gave them for the awards, for the incentive.
the Massa insurance, helicopter insurance, does that cover everybody on the active roster?
No, it'll just be the amount that was in the budget from the year before for the incentive personnel. They did not include the whole amount that I budgeted for every volunteer.
Chris, where is the line item for the firefighter recruitment and retention?
If you'll go to the 20 fund, Travis, it says at the bottom, you can see, I think it's 82 of 107. It was Operational Fire Chiefs Association Recruitment and Retention, $10,000.
82 82?
I think it says 82. It's small at the bottom, on the bottom right corner in red.
I reckon I'm looking over.
It's the one that's printed sideways. His is different than yours.
Oh, okay. That's why I didn't see it. I couldn't see it. They did get that $10,000 in, but I think it would be wise for us to, and that does include the fire and the rescue. It's not just fire money, it's to recruit and retain both of them. But I think it would be wise on our part to, for them to spend and get reimbursed instead of just straight out spend the money. I think it would be better means and balances to, if the chiefs agreed at a to have one of these
Regional
regional
improvement.
recruitment events, that the chiefs pay for it and then the county reimburse them for it. Because the chiefs have got, I mean, they can do that.
That was a suggestion of the county administrator as well, just reimbursing as you turn the receipts for recruitment.
I just think it would be easier to account for that way, rather than,
Maddie, is that good with you? Oh, I'm just saying you'd be the one being impacted by that.
is that a yes, that'd be easiest for you? Yeah, I just think it'd be easier that way.
Yeah, I think so too, because we would have to be paying for it. And,
Yeah.
So if we, yeah, we gave it a receipt, we could get a reimbursement after, do a safety for
Straight to the association.
Do it.
Straight to the association.
Right. I just think it would be easier to track that way. And that would show good faith and good stewardship of the money as well. And I'll even present that at the chiefs meeting if everybody's good with it. Y'all wanna vote on that, or do you just wanna run with it?
Go for it.
Run with it?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, they're not talking about like the High Falls County Park Fund.
No. This is 4 events at 4 areas where the membership's low. One of them being Crossroads, South Union, Crossroads, QEB, and Picket Post is where we had talked about. Just trying to get membership built up there.
The event at High Falls, Director Caudill has a sponsor helping us with food for that.
What is the date on that? It was changed, wasn't it? It was August the,
He's looking. Need a head count too. Kind of a ballpark head count of who you think the departments, from your department may be coming, just so the sponsor knows how much food to get.
August the 21st.
21st, does that sound right?
14th to the 21st, I think it's 21st.
On Friday?
5 p.m.
It's Friday.
It's on a Friday?
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah, it's Friday.
when do you need the head count by?
That afternoon, like 5 o'clock or whenever.
When you need the head count by?
August 1st?
Yeah, I'd just say the next few weeks, just getting some.
No, you don't deal with this bunch like that. You got to put them a date. August 1st?
Yeah, that'd be good.
At High Falls.
Anything else on the budget?
I got a few things.
Okay.
On the 10 fund, there's a thing called, and I've seen this a lot of times, data process is $20,000. What's under that?
That's emergency management software that they use, that's Adobe, that's basically anything like that that we have that they use. As an example, in the 20 fund, data processing, the 48,500, that's Red MX and Active 911, so it's the same kind of stuff in the general fund.
Well, and that segues my second question. Why do we have the different stuff in the different funds? Wouldn't it be easier for us and for administration and council to, when they're reviewing, go, okay, here's a lump sum of what it is? Wouldn't it be easier to have it separated, combined like that?
In one, when it's two different budgets, two different funds, no.
Well, I guess my question is, why has it got to be two different funds?
Because we limited on what we can get in the 20 fund. About 2.9 mils. The 10 fund, it could go up and down each year. We're competing with other departments for that, for what we budgeted in the general fund. In the 10 fund, that's, and again, this was our first budget, you know, so, we went through last week just trying to figure out what was plugged into each line.
I noticed there's three different ones, data processing, gasoline, there was 75,000 one, and 10,000 other, and vehicle maintenance, 171 bucket and 20 in the other.
So in the gasoline, I felt like that was when the general fund money run out, then, you know, depending on gas prices, you don't know what they're gonna be, then we had a little bit budgeted in the 20 fund to help with that.
Last question is, let me get my computer fixed where I can read it. I'm having to flip that stupid page upside down. You said that there's budgeting for the initial part of a payment for 5 trucks. Is that what you said earlier?
That's what I said, yes, sir.
And
The initial payment,
is that out of the three?
lease payment's what I said,
Yeah, is that out of the 335?
yes.
I'm just asking because once in here, I see a fire truck that says 148,000, and then lease payments from 2024 on 3 different line items. I don't see anything new.
So the 148,000 is, well, if you look where it says fire truck 2024 capital lease purchase proceeds, I think that was the administrator's note of just where that money was coming from. But that 485,000 is the lease payment for 2 engines and 3 tankers. That's what the number that we put in there.
So the existing trucks, that the lease purchase is already complete? That's
So
for a
the
new-
tanker payments is the next 2 lines. There is no other payments on any
Okay.
engines. We're making the last payment on the air packs in August out of this budget. So the thought was if we could get these 2 engines and 3 tankers in this lease payment, then the next year we could look at the air pack lease money going toward more trucks.
So what would the fire truck for 148, what is that?
That is a rescue squad vehicle and another pickup truck.
Okay. Pick up to one of the squads or to the,
We're getting rid of the red pickup truck.
that was all I had.
Because we didn't have the money to budget the whole amount for fire trucks, so we just tried to budget at least the lease payment. Try to back trucks into that amount.
Anything further? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item. Discuss the training schedule for the remainder of the calendar year. Wilkerson, I think this is.
Huh?
Is this something that you was wanting?
Yeah. Let me get back to my notes again, sorry. Fine. And I didn't prep well enough to speak on this, but I know that I started off this way. We had the meeting 4 months ago, I guess, with the training officer, is that right? Something like that? And, coming out of there was, an item where we tried to not eliminate, but, work with classes where the state fire academy minimums aren't met to be able to ensure that goes. So if we only got 8 people, and is that being done or not?
On the classes that the training officer can teach.
Okay. And that's a big list, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's a big list. Now, if it's a fire one or a hazmat ops and you got 2 people or 1 person, that's not feasible to try to do that, you know. But I don't think any of those have happened. I know they've just finished up a hybrid fire one, that only had 3 and we put that in there to try to help with volunteers' time in class, so it was, half of it was online, but there was only 3 volunteers signed up for it, and 2 of them dropped out before the finish.
I noticed what's left in the year ain't much left there, and we're just now in the second half of the year, so there's not much in there for the second half of the year. Is it? What do we need to do as an organization, I guess, to get more classes out there, but also get people to get in. So, and I also know that, and here's where I did prep. My training officers had problems getting some classes started. You had to actually go to the academy, try and get them done, and so forth. And I hate to speak exactly what those problems were, because I really don't know, but I know he was having trouble, so.
And I do know Honeycutt sent out an email that if there was any classes that any of the chiefs needed for their area, and even if they wanted to host them in their area, even if that was something he could teach in their area, to let him know prior to putting in for the 6 months of academy classes. And I'm sure that still stands for the first half of next year. So if there's classes that your area needs, then y'all need to be communicating that with him so he can put in for them. And be glad to host them in your area. If you don't want, your people don't want to drive to headquarters, be glad to do them at your department if your department has a place to be able to hold the class.
So you say to put them in, you're talking about to put them in with the academy, so it'll be a months and months of lag between the time you request it and you actually can get it?
Yeah, if it's something you need and we're going to put in for it for next year, I mean, if you only got 1 or 2 people needing the class, depends on the class. I mean, he could come do an in-house class for you, but if it's a class that needs more people, you know, we need to put it out to the rest of the league and see if there's any other students from other areas that won't take it.
I looked on the website today, the fire instructor class isn't on there, the ones for the end of the month. Has it been canceled?
I don't know.
I also noticed when I checked by region, I went to look and see what courses are in the region. This ain't his problem, but nothing shows up, none of this list shows up on the region.
On the academy.
You have to go, that's an academy issue, but you have to go to the individual class and search it.
There is a lot of issues going on at the state level now with the academy, and they've been made aware of a lot of things. Now, I'm not knowing this specific, but there's a lot of issues going on there.
I've got several members, 2 of my lieutenants, have tried to take his fire instructor one 2 or 3 times, and it keeps getting canceled because it didn't meet the minimum number of folks in there, so.
And I don't know if the instructor one is a class that they will allow Honeycutt to teach without a certain amount of people in there. Now, some of the other classes he can just do in-house and take care of that, but instructor one, I don't know how they handle that. There are only 2 people that the academy certifies, and that's instructors and fire marshals, so they may have different regulations on the instructor one class, and I'd be lied if I spoke anything about that, because I just don't know. But I do know there's presentations they have to make during that class, and getting evaluated and all that, so I don't know if they would do that just for 2, I don't know.
That's all I had.
We got anything else on training?
The Chiefs Association, that committee is trying to set up a water shuttle for the whole county. We're trying to get a third party to come in and actually teach the class. That way everybody even the hosting department, wherever it's gonna be at. But we're trying to get some more details from a vendor before we try to get some
Use
dates.
Big
and everything.
Water.
We're not.
That's a waste of $5,000.
We're trying to figure out.
And hopefully our couplings ran by then. I mentioned that to the chief. So
Yeah, that's why I can't.
maybe we're getting everybody the couplings like was on the original tank.
Yeah, Big Water's taught several in Oconee. The first one was real good. The second one was terrible. I mean, me and Clint stood out there and laughed at the whole thing. You know, it was hideous. Anything else on training? Hearing none, we'll go on to the,
Travis, I got one more thing.
okay.
Could all the chiefs, this would be more for the chiefs meeting, since we're gonna be the administrator of the department, could whoever's over the county account show us how they want it done?
And
Active 911. That way we could,
I
everybody.
think every chief in the county needs to be taught one way.
If, that way there's not 6 different ways of adding people and this, that, and the other. That way there's one way to doing it, and that's it.
We asked for that training for,
Red MX.
no, the one before that, ERS.
ERS.
We never got it. I mean, so you can go back and look, everybody's fire report done different. Because we never could get everybody the same trainage.
we can do that. We'll get everybody inputted in the system and then come around and show all the chiefs how to add people, how to take.
Or do it in Chiefs meeting.
Yeah, we can do it at chiefs.
It's
That'd be the place.
I mean,
It's not hard.
there's only one way to do it, basically.
Yeah, but I think what he's talking about, the input side of
Well,
it. If you have to go in and add a new member.
Oh, it's easy.
Oh, I know, but
I mean, you
some
can
of
run a
them don't
computer,
know.
some of them can't
Yeah,
do
well,
it.
yeah.
Anything else?
Sorry.
No, you don't need to be sorry. The next thing is the fire advisory ordinance. I've got a couple of comments on this. Has everybody looked at this ordinance? The things the couple of highlights that I've got, or the issues I've got with it, are the powers and duties of the fire commission shall be as followed, and I'll even read them. To advise county council, law enforcement, public safety, health and welfare committee, or known as the committee, on matters affecting the operation and activities of the various fire stations, other emergency protection service agencies of the county, and to formulate plans and advise the committee on the operation and maintenance of the fire stations and emergency protection service agencies and their equipment, personnel, and training. My next bit of concern is the same page, subtitle C, to participate in the formulation of the budget and budgetary appropriations affecting the areas of concern of the Fire Commission, to include operational, capital, and long-range planning budgetary recommendations for county council considerations, on there twice. And D is to prepare plans and recommendations to the Law Enforcement, Public Safety, Health and Welfare Committee in the areas of the commission's responsibility and activity with recommendations for the implementation of such plans. E, to generally advise the county council's Law Enforcement, Public Safety, Health and Welfare Committee on any matter within the scope of the Fire Commission's activities which would tend to improve the efficiency and beneficial operation of county government in the fields of activity with which the Fire Commission is concerned. We're not being given the opportunity to do this. Whether it be Chief Smith, Mr. Caldwell, Mr. Shirley, I have no clue. But we're not being able to perform what county council told us is our job to do. For whatever reason that is. I don't know who to blame. Is it Mr. Shirley? I don't know. But I know Mr. Shirley's not been out talking to any volunteer fire chiefs. I've polled a good many of them. So how are we being involved in the decision-making of the fire service if the three of y'all are meeting and none of us are included in this meeting? How am I supposed to effectively go to the Public Safety Committee meeting and give an update when y'all are meeting, but none of us are included in any of the meetings? And you can't say that we're included because the budget went all the way through and we had zero input. So tell me how we're supposed to answer the council.
I disagree on your zero input. Everything that this commission asked for in the budget.
But we had
was
to
asked
ask for it. We weren't included in the preparation, and
We sat up here and discussed it.
it states right here that we're in the formulation of it. I mean, I got it highlighted. So I think there's a whole lot of meetings between y'all, and that's paid staff. And our duty is to advocate on the volunteer side. That's my personal opinion. But I can't go and give an effective report to the Public Safety Committee if we're not being informed. And that's my stand on it. We can let it die and it won't mean anything, but I've said what I had to say.
Well, if this is what the county council expects out of us, then if it's not being done, then it's on the county council to get that fixed. If that's what they want, and we can't do it, then they either fix it or get rid of it.
We had zero input on the budget, zero input on the org chart, and the meeting for the Career Center. I mean, we got it at 5 o'clock yesterday. I'm not throwing a dart at you. You let me know when you find out. But 5 o'clock and the meeting's at 8 this morning. How are we included in that? I don't think we're any different now. I think council fixed the commission ordinance to bypass the Amanda Brock vet and everything, the Scott Crine vet and everything, and we're zero different than what we were. Because whether it be Mr. Shirley or whoever, somebody's vetting everything before we ever get the opportunity to go to the public safety with it. So, and I'll ask my councilman, who appointed me, how am I supposed to represent you and keep you informed if I'm not informed? That's my concern. We're zero different than what we were 10 years ago. Everything this board does is being vetted before it ever leaves the room.
So going forward next year, maybe you need to appoint a committee that's a budget committee to be a part of those budget meetings, that if there are budget meetings when they happen.
But it says right here in the ordinance that the commission, it don't say a committee, it says the commission is to be involved. It don't, I'm not being smart at it, I'm saying that the ordinance that they wrote says the commission.
And I guess some clarity would need to be in the line that states, affecting the areas of concern of the fire commission. What is the areas of concern that needs to be affected, I guess? So, I mean, only thing I would know to do is for y'all to be a part of any budget workshops or anything that happens, if that's what the council is wanting you to do. But we, as the whole commission, can't be a part of that. As a group. together.
Section 10.4, purpose of the article. The purpose of this article is to restructure the Oconee County Fire Service Advisory Commission, whose mission is to provide a body of active members of the Oconee County Fire Service to be responsible for guidance, advice, and recommendations to the Oconee County Council on current and future fire service activities and needs in Oconee County. So that's your mission. I mean, so.
But as far as working on the formulation of a budget, I mean, that would have to be, I would suggest a committee working alongside with staff, working on that budget. And then that could be brought back to your commission, but the whole board can't be able to go at one time to any budget meetings. But if that's what you want, I mean, if that's what they're wanting, then that would be my suggestion, is next year, any meeting that happens, that y'all are there.
At this point, I'm being honest, I don't know what they want. I'm telling you what the ordinance says, and we're not being included in a lot of discussion. So,
Mr. Chairman, can I ask, because I'm the new guy, was that written recently? Is this the first year of that one?
ask Councilman Mize, this is the last ordinance.
Okay. You know when it was written or who wrote it?
It was put into place October, November of last year?
9/16/25.
Okay.
Do you know who wrote it or who had input in that?
Oconee County Council.
Root finalized.
I'm just curious, again, not knowing, I'm just curious if it was done last year and this is his first year of it, or, I just wasn't sure.
That's my concern. I think to effectively do our job, we need to be included. So. Anybody got anything else on the ordinance?
Well, I appreciate these guys being here, and no slight to anybody else, but especially Don, being here, and I'll book your titles up, so Don it is. I've known him that way for 40 years, so I'm gonna keep calling him that. But I appreciate him being here, but there are certain things I think, I started on Fire Commission first in '89, believe it or not. That was my first term on Fire Commission. And back then, Fire Commission, they didn't do the final approval, but they said, okay, we're gonna go to Anderson Fire and Safety, buy 10 pair of gloves and present it to county council. That's how deep it was with Commission in. That can't happen today. That's just too much detail. There's no way that possibly could happen. But I think to help them be the better stewards for the citizens of the county to get the best emergency service protection they can get for the money they can afford, then we need to have some things, not every little thing, but you think about the recurring costs. There's $7 million recurring costs annual for salaries right now? That's a lot of money. There's fire trucks now, $1 million. So if we can figure out a way to work together to maybe cut that number of people down, we got to require to be salaries. I'm not saying to go fire people. I'm just saying, like earlier, maybe there's some things we could do to cut back on the number of folks and drop that number. The recurring costs is a huge amount of money for this council. I mean, I don't know, Ms. Shirley may know the percentage of the emergency services budget out of, but I would assume we're probably second behind the sheriff's department, just because of the amount of salaries. But then on the fire trucks, you mentioned 5 fire trucks. I can't remember the ratios. Some tankers, some engines, whatever they are. So, where are they going? I don't know that. What are they replacing? Are those trucks being replaced? Could they last another 5 years, even though they may or may not be outside that magic number that the NFPA says, which we have not adopted in this county? So, yeah, maybe we could move those things forward. But the group didn't have a chance to have the input. I think that's your point. They didn't have a chance to have the input on those type of things. The small minutia things, especially stuff related to the paid personnel, where they're getting their insurance from. I know it's been a big issue. Whatever that's no concern here. That's staff's job to handle. But these big ticket items, so we can properly advise county council on the big ticket stuff, not the nickel dime type stuff, but the big ticket stuff. And so the big ticket stuff is, how do we get back to having 450 volunteers in the county? And I mean, ideally, right, you go back to 450 active volunteers and 2 or 3 paid staff. That's the best thing for the taxpayer, right? Ain't gonna happen. But I'm saying there's some balance there to help and to work together as a group. And I go back to the same thing I said before. I still think we need to have a group. You can't all of us be on there, just like Chris said. We can't all be on there. Put a group, get together, a couple of us, a couple of them, a couple of the Don Miles County Council, Miss Shirley, those type of folks. Get together in a room, and Don can bring cheeseburgers or something. I don't know, but sit around and talk about those type of things and high level stuff. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
McAllister?
Only thing I got, and I'm don't know nothing about budgets and all that stuff, but you think, whatever Chris and them budget, the council would know that. Because the council and Chris and them goes over the budget, right? So why would we have to report back to them? You know what I'm saying?
Not really.
Don't know why we'd have to intervene in the budget process if the council's handling the budget to start with.
Because the ordinance says we have.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the root of all this up, he said. But, if they give us a job that we really, council's already doing, they're supposed to be doing.
Nicholson,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Skill?
Covered with.
Mr. Smith? I think we already went over the budget line item totals, haven't we?
But, well, I think maybe add this for next month, and it's supposed to be on next month's agenda. That last one. So I just asked her how things floated out and what things fell under each line item and how the totals ended up. I know some others talked about that too. I think Steve mentioned something about that earlier, about how much is left over a particular line item. So I'd asked her, she said it's gonna take time to get it together. Now, I don't know how long it takes for all the
And there's
stuff
a
to
lot
come
of
through.
line
for the-
items that's not gonna be comparable to previous years, because we've been on a freeze since April. Unless it was just absolute dire emergency, we was on a freeze since April.
Anyway, Chad, that's what that line was for.
Okay.
It was just, I guess she's got on her placekeeper for next month.
Okay. Ms. Jennifer Adams sent out an email that due to the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, I'm going to short-live it. The room, there'll be a special election on August the 11th. If a runoff election is needed, the room's not going to be available for our next August meeting. So we need to reschedule or cancel.
Possible.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So I would say go ahead and reschedule it now and then not have to worry about it. So our regular schedule would be the August the 20th. Would you rather, well, the 27th is going to be after the Chiefs meeting, so I would propose the 13th, which is the week before. We always just try to meet before the Chiefs meeting.
If the room's open.
And Madison will have to see if the room's available.
Could you, check the availability? Everybody good with moving it to the 13th
Yes.
See?
At 6.
at 6?
Oh, come on. 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I won't.
Okay. If the room's available, the next fire commission meeting will be August the 13th. Roll call vote that. Mr. Wilkerson? Mr. Unanimous. Hearing no other business, one more thing. How hard would it be for us to get that daily dispatch back? I forgot to bring that up in my.
Probably do that with active once we get all that set back up.
Okay. Everybody in our,
Just don't let me forget that once we get active set back
okay,
up. we put it back.
it just helps to at least know who the battalion chief is. Right now, you just have to go to call it.
And I'm actually looking at going to one battalion phone, and so you just have that phone number going in there. Who's on that battalion. But Long and Owens have had theirs so long, they're retiring over the next 6 months. So we'll just kind of put those out to officers, and you'll have one battalion phone.
Okay.
So
Well, that'd be good.
I know they got a lot of contacts in those phones because they had them so long. I don't want to just, that'll make it easier for you, no matter who's running
Yeah.
the old phone.
Could I entertain a motion we adjourn?
Absolutely.
So moved.
I call this meeting adjourned.